making headlines. The president outlines the country's current social and economic challenges in clear terms. The economic minister discloses that the state was able to save $1 billion during the past 6 months. And the Maldives strongly condemns the recent statement made by Israel calling for the construction of a synagogue inside the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and welcome to PSMNEWS in English with me, Mahmoud. Looking into the details, Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif states that President Dr. Mohammad PSMNEWS has prioritized the advancement of human resources and capacity building within the government and state institutions, particularly at leadership levels, since assuming office. The Vice President made the remarks while speaking at the official launch event of the second training cohort of the Maldives Leadership Program known as the Maldives Executive Leadership Program.
Speaking at the ceremony, Vice President Latif extended sincere gratitude on behalf of the Maldivian government to the President of United Arab Emirates and ruler of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Prime Minister and Vice President of the United Arab Emirates and ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, and the Vice President and Deputy Prime Minister of UAE, Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, as well as to the government of the UAE for their unwavering support and invaluable assistance to the Maldives' development agenda over the past decades. Continuing his remarks, the Vice President stated that the government recognizes the importance of developing future-ready government leaders and policymakers equipped with the knowledge, skills and best practices necessary to adapt to global changes and transformations. He added that the government is committed to developing the leadership skills and making them change agents within the government who can engage, lead, innovate and enhance the government's success. He stated that it is with this understanding the government is committed to building institutional capabilities and enhancing organizational performance through collaborative initiatives and joint efforts with friendly and neighboring countries. The Maldives Executive Leadership Program, launched on August 26th, consists of 2-day workshops conducted in the Maldives, focusing on better policy making and strategic leadership. The 2-day session will cover 2 of the 5 modules included in the program. As part of the program, participants will complete a portion of their training in the UAE and visit selected government agencies, gaining valuable insights into the reform and modernization programs undertaken by UAE government authorities.
President Dr. Mohammad PSMNEWS, who assumed office on November 17 last year, outlines the country's current social and economic challenges in clear terms.
The president highlighted that the previous administration's currency printing and debt accumulation have pushed the nation into an economic crisis. As such, he vowed to address these issues and revitalize the economy. The government is currently working to improve the current situation, with President Dr. PSMNEWS stating that the economic difficulties will be resolved by November this year. He also emphasized that every decision made by the administration will prioritize the well-being of the citizens and the nation. President Dr. PSMNEWS is also committed to empowering the youth as a key strategy for tackling socio-economic challenges. He pledged to provide housing and employment opportunities to ensure economic prosperity and a better quality of life for the younger generation, stressing that youth empowerment is a top priority of the government's agenda. He reiterated that these commitments form a significant part of his manifesto. Addressing the critical issue of housing, which concerns every citizen, President Dr. PSMNEWS pledged to resolve the issue within the next 5 years. He assured that by the end of this term, every citizen will have access to housing. Despite the criticism from the opposition regarding his ability to fulfill these pledges, given the worsening economic situation of the Maldives, the president remains confident that he will deliver on his pledges to the citizens. The government is also addressing major social issues in the Maldives, including the issues of illegal foreigners and drug-related crimes. As such, several measures are being implemented to identify and deport illegal immigrants and to curb unlawful businesses. In addition, significant legal reforms are underway to combat gang violence and drug trafficking.
Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Said disclosed that the state was able to save $1 billion during the past 6 months. The minister noted that this was the result of the measures taken by the state to recover the Maldivian economy.
Speaking at a program of PSMNEWS, Minister Said highlighted that the Maldivian economy was deteriorating at a quick pace when President Dr. Mohamed Muiz took to office. He added that the mismanagement of the state funds had led to irreversible damages. He stated that the current administration has been able to save $1 billion in 6 months and increase the Sovereign Development Fund to $60 million. Minister Said noted that the previous government had printed money worth $521 million within 3 years. He also noted the government debt was increased to a historic level during the past government's 5-year tenure and stated that these debts have not helped increase the government revenue but has led to the state-owned enterprises to go bankrupt. Furthermore, Minister Said went on to say that the ministry is working tirelessly to repay the debts and increase the state revenue, even with all the burdens it had to take on since taking office in November 2023. He added that the operation of the Development Bank of Maldives will stimulate the economy and increase state revenue. The minister also noted the financial center to be developed in Funadu is progressing steadily. He also highlighted that the bunkering services in the north will be commenced in September 12th. He noted that these services will boost economic growth and highlighted that these development plans are being executed without defaulting on debt. Minister Said assured that the government will not allow the state debt to increase without control for a second time.
The Maldives strongly condemns and denounces the recent statement by an Israeli minister calling for the construction of a synagogue inside the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque.
The Al-Aqsa Mosque holds immense spiritual and historical significance for over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide. It is not only a revered place of worship but also a symbol of Islamic heritage. The Maldives calls on the government of Israel to respect the historical and legal status of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in accordance with international law and relevant United Nations resolutions. Such provocative statements made by senior officials of the Israeli government undermines the efforts to reach a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and has the potential of fueling religious conflict and causing further instability in the Middle East region. Furthermore, the Maldives calls on the international community to urgently intervene to prevent any action that could change the legal status of Jerusalem and its holy sites and take all the necessary measures to protect the rights of the Palestinian people. It stands in firm solidarity with the Palestinian people in the pursuit of their inherent right to self-determination, reiterating its calls for the establishment of a sovereign and independent state of Palestine as per the pre-1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital.
The President's office announces the opening of applications for the position of Prosecutor General of the Maldives. The application for the Prosecutor General position was opened following the dismissal of the former Prosecutor General Hussein Shamim on August 22nd. Any citizens of the age of 25 will be eligible for the position. The President's office has specified that application forms and necessary documents will be accepted from September 10 to 11 between 8:30 and 12 at the office. Under the Prosecutor General's Act, a new appointment must be made within 30 days if the position becomes vacant. Meanwhile, the Parliament has resolved to convene 2 sittings to appoint a new Prosecutor General as well. Fennica Corporation Limited completes the installation of smart meters in all the households of Kudahuadu in Dal Atoll under the Fennica Smart Meter project. The primary objective of the project is to address the issue of increasing electricity bills utilizing the technological advancements. The smart meters launched under the project are automotive, and will replace the previously utilized analog and digital meters. With the installation of the smart meters, households will be able to monitor their electricity consumption on a daily basis, hence assisting to reduce their current bills. During the ceremony held to mark the installation of the smart meters, Feneka launched the smart meter application as well. The application was officiated by the Minister of Climate Change, Environment and Energy, Tariq Ibrahim. The application will facilitate customers utilizing the smart meters to monitor the daily electricity usage via mobile phones. Following the launching of the application, Managing Director of Feneka, Muaz Mohammad Rashid, disclosed that the company strives to upgrade the application in the near future, such that the hourly electricity consumption can be monitored. In addition to installing the smart meters in Kudahuadu and all of the islands of Dal Atoll, Feneka is working to install the smart meters in all inhabited islands of the country. Under these efforts, Feneka is currently working to install the smart meters in Hadal Atoll, Ba Atoll, Meme Atoll, Faf Atoll, Ta Atoll, as well as Formless City. The smart meters, which are Chinese products, meet international standards and is touted by several developed countries. Feneka is equipped with the necessary resources required to test the smart meters, which meets the standards of the Utility Regulatory Authority. Feneka Corporation Limited states that efforts are underway to dispatch a 12,000 kilowatt generator set to Formless City to address the ongoing issues related to electricity supply. This initiative aims to elevate the challenges associated with providing adequate electrical power to the city. Feneka highlighted that the previous generator set in the city had been damaged, leading to inefficiencies in electricity provision and frequent power outages for residents. The corporation said in January that it would work to resolve the issue. As a temporary solution, an 800 kilowatt generator set was brought under the emergency procurement along with 800 kilowatt generator set which had yet to be installed on a different island. However, Feneka noted that this was not a potential solution, explaining that with the increasing electricity consumption in months with higher temperatures, additional generators will be required to supply electricity to meet the demands. Under the efforts to resolve this issue sustainably, the corporation stated that efforts are currently underway to dispatch and install a 12,000 kilowatt generator in Formless City. Feneka expressed optimism in the generator, stating that it will prove to be a potential solution. Furthermore, Feneka criticized the previous administration for inadequate maintenance of critical resources and facilities used for electricity provision. It was revealed that generators were not overhauled, substandard spare parts were used, and generators were installed without regard to the electricity capacity needs of various islands. The current government is exerting efforts to ensure the provision of electricity efficiently and sustainably. The Waste Management Corporation, WMCO, extended its services by adding the housekeeping service to its portfolio. WMCO noted that the newly introduced Hober service is targeted to government institutions, state-owned companies, agencies, private offices and buildings. Noting that 4 places has signed up for the WMCO housekeeping services so far, the corporation notes that the aim of the service expansion is to make the company more profitable. Currently, WMCO is providing the service to the Attorney General's Office, the Hajj Corporation, the Maldives Sports Limited, and Hamwer Muraduge. Noting that the corporation aims to expand its services, WMCO disclosed that discussions are underway with 7 additional places to provide housekeeping services. It also noted that the customers have highlighted that service fee is low compared to the waste disposal fee. WMCO notes that the housekeeping service is provided with trained staff. It notes that the number of days to provide the service and the prices will be determined based on the needs of the customers. Monday scrapped flights from Colombia, blaming dwindling fuel stocks. They reinstated most of them as industry officials, and the government disagreed on the cause of the interruption.
National carrier Avianca, which according to Colombia's air transport regulator cancelled 24 flights on Monday, said in a statement it had been advised by suppliers of a cap on kerosene deliveries for the rest of the month. Avianca flights to Sao Paulo, Santiago, Mexico City and Cancun were affected according to the FlightAware tracking platform. Latin America's largest airline, LATAM, said it had to cancel 36 flights scheduled for Tuesday due to restrictions on the supply of Jet A1 aviation fuel in some airports. But later Monday, both companies said operations were back to normal and that they had received assurances of uninterrupted fuel supply. The government denied there had ever been a shortage and blamed fuel distributor Terpel, owned by Chilean oil company Copec, for not doing its job. Terpel blamed problems at the Refica refinery in Cartagena, owned by the state oil company Ecopetrol. Ecopetrol said in a statement an electrical failure had affected production at Refica between August 16th and 18th. President Gustavo Petro insisted the refinery problem had been fixed without causing problems, adding on social media that it was incorrect to report that flight cancellations had to do with the August 16th Refica blackout. Ecopetrol said earlier Monday it would import 100,000 barrels of aviation fuel, possibly leading to an increase in ticket prices, according to the Transport Ministry. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, had warned on Sunday that a fuel shortage would lead to flight cancellations and flights carrying fewer passengers per plane. According to IATA, which represents more than 300 airlines, distributors suspended fuel supply to 11 terminals, while for many others, they issued alerts for critical stock levels. The Eurocivil Airport Authority, however, insisted jet fuel stocks were sufficient. Petro said there would be investigations by market regulators. The opposition had accused the president, who is seeking to reduce the Colombian economy's dependence on oil exports, of having appointed inexperienced people to head Ecopetrol.
Rian Group Chief Executive Michael O'Leary says that Boeing's new management continued to disappoint and that deliveries were behind schedule.
The Irish airline, one of Boeing's largest customers, said there was a risk it would take delivery of just 20 to 25 of the 737 MAX aircraft ahead of next summer rather than the 29 scheduled.
Yeah, I'd say difficult. We were supposed to get 7 aircraft from Boeing in July. We only got 5. We were supposed to get 10 aircraft in August. It looks like we'll only get 5. So things are continuing to slip slightly. It's been disappointing. We're working closely with Stephanie Pope and the new team in Boeing. But they continue to disappoint us. Now, we're at the end of the peak summer period. We still believe we'll get the balance of 20 aircraft between now and the end of the year. The big challenge for us now is we're supposed to get 29 aircraft in the spring of 2025 for summer 2025. And we think there's a risk now that we might only get 25 of those 29 aircraft. Much depends on when Boeing step up their production. And therefore, the sooner they step up their production, the better.
The CEO also said that Ryanair no longer sees a risk of double-digit percentage falls in average fares this summer as weakness is leveled out.
No, I think it looks like it's disappeared. While fares were kind of softening during April, May and June, that has leveled out. We think fares down around 5% in that second quarter looks about right.
Shares in the Irish airline plunged 15% last month when O'Leary warned of a downward trend in airfares that could exceed 10% in the airline's key July to September quarter. Instead, O'Leary said a fall of 5% during that period now looks reasonably accurate.
Japan slams what it called the first confirmed incursion by a Chinese military aircraft into its airspace as a serious violation of its sovereignty, saying Beijing was becoming increasingly active.
China's growing economic and military clout in the Asia-Pacific region and its assertiveness in territorial disputes, most recently with Philippines, has rattled the United States, US, and its allies. Monday's incident represents a further heightening of tensions. Japan, Washington's closest ally in the region, said it scrambled fighter jets after the 2-minute insertion on Monday morning by the Y-9 surveillance aircraft off the Dangzhou Islands in the East China Sea. Asked about the claims, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian said Beijing was gathering information and verifying the situation while communicating with Japan. During a regular briefing, Lin emphasized that China has no intention of intruding into the territorial airspace of any country. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan arrived in Beijing on Monday for talks with top diplomat Wang Yi that will include the South China Sea. Analysts said China was possibly probing Japan's air defense network, seeking to obtain intelligence and putting pressure on Tokyo as it expands defense cooperation with the United States, US, and other countries in the region, alarmed by Beijing's behavior. Japan's chief government spokesman, Yoshimasa Hayashi, told reporters that the violation of their airspace by Chinese military aircraft is not only a serious violation of the country's sovereignty, but also a threat to its security and is totally unacceptable.
Novak Djokovic's bid for a record 25th Grand Slam title kicked off with a rusty 6-2, 6-2, 6-4 win over Coliferado Albert in the US Open first round as the defending champion returned to the court after his Olympic triumph.
3 weeks after winning the singles title at the Paris Games, Djokovic toted his rackets and gear in a pair of gold-colored bags into center court, where the Arthur Ashe Stadium crowd gave him a hero's welcome. But the Serb's golden touch was decidedly lacking in the late-night match as he struggled with serve and racked up nearly twice as many enforced errors as winners. Midnight matches may be popular with fans but not with old campaigner Novak Djokovic. The pair were unable to take to the court until late due to Clara Burel's comeback win over Sloane Stephens, who crumbled in 3 sets after leading 6-0, 3-0. 37-year-old Djokovic told reporters that he did not think that aging helps in staying so late and playing very late. He told reporters that he can feel his batteries are low and shutting down. Noting that night matches are enjoyable, the Serb noted that he would like to start the matches early. He expressed hope to be the first to play during the night matches so that he can start a more decent time and finish at a more decent time. Djokovic noted that there's something special about the late-night finishes for the fans, particularly post-midnight. He, however, said that it is not for the players, but if they get a win, then it's all good.
A surprising guest made an appearance at an anti-government protest in Tel Aviv, a talking puppet of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The project, led by Avner Peled, a researcher at Aalto University, allows cell phone users from anywhere in the world to speak through the robotic puppet using Netanyahu's AI-generated voice. Gal Gofang, the Tel Aviv coordinator, said the project was inspired by puppets used in peaceful protests in other parts of the world. Gofang said that they want to give people who cannot be at the rallies an ability to have their voice right there in Tel Aviv. While the project distances itself from taking a political stance, it aims to creatively and playfully to engage in political discourse and bridge gaps between groups in conflict, according to its website. Puppetry has been used for political commentary for centuries, from the Punch and Judy shows, which satirized English society in the 1600s, to the bread and puppet theater that protested the Vietnam War in the 1960s. Shay Sofer, a 53-year-old CFO and demonstrator, found the Netanyahu puppet amusing but pointed in its critique. She said that even though it's funny, she noted that Netanyahu does not take responsibility for his actions and what is coming after October 7th. Since October 7th, Israel's military has leveled swaths of the Palestinian enclave, driving nearly all of its 2.3 million people from their homes and killing at least 40,405, according to Palestinian health authorities. Israel says it has killed some 17,000 militants since the start of the war. Months of on-off talks have failed to produce a breakthrough to end Israel's devastating military campaign in Gaza or free the remaining 109 hostages seized by Hamas.
That's it for now. Have a pleasant day ahead. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.